When you look at cybersecurity, and the problem with cybersecurity today, you have a lot of endpoints, billions of endpoints. You have literally what they call zettabytes of data. And that's what, it's that combination of the two is what we call an attack surface. It's what the opportunity is for the attacker to actually perpetrate an attack, which is vast. Now, to defend against that using human knowledge and human experience, that's what we've done to date. And in fact, and the problem is we are up against is there's about 1 million open positions predicted by 2020 in the security space. There's just not enough of people that can actually defend against and have the knowledge to defend against these attacks. So that is the opportunity for machine learning, artificial intelligence to help solve that problem. And it's ripe for bringing that technology to solve that problem. Yeah, training enough people and having enough skilled people is a real problem for the sector. By 2020, it's predicted that we will have 1 million open positions in cybersecurity. And there's a reason for that. Cybersecurity it's a difficult problem, right? You got to understand networking, you got to understand databases, you got to understand operating systems, you got to understand the whole end-to-end system. Also, the attacker is very sophisticated. These are brilliant minds, unfortunately, being used to perpetrate bad things, right? And, having people that actually really understand the attack patterns and the modus operandi of these environments is a real challenge for the industry. That's where we at IBM really looked at this problem. And in fact, to use a healthcare analogy, we took a technology called Watson. And if you look at the cancer research and the amount of information that's out there and the number of oncologists and the shortage of them, it's a real problem facing the world. In fact, if you live in India, where there's over 1 billion people, there's about 1,000 oncologists. So if you get cancer in India, you've got a real problem. And in addition to that, if you look at oncology, the amount of research in oncology, there's about 250 hours a week of reading for an individual just to read the amount of research in oncology. So it's just an impossible human task. We actually looked at that and said, look at this problem in security, and it's the very same problem. It's probably not as broad as a scope problem, but it's a very similar problem where you have a lot of what we call an end-to-end system. You have a lot of unstructured information out there that you want to bring together to actually train individuals. And you can go through a classroom type setting to actually train the individual, or use technology to really improve the skills gap and give them context depending on what they're seeing. And that's really what we're trying to do with something like Watson for Cybersecurity, where you see a scenario, where you see a set of vital signs, to use the healthcare analogy, and what would be the typical remediation plan. And of course that helps the individual that says, I've seen that pattern before, Watson helped me before, so I can move on to more complex scenarios. So help to lower that learning curve or that learning threshold, and people can learn the security space industry much faster. And that's one of the key benefits of Watson for Cybersecurity. If you actually look at a person working in the cyber world today and actually working to defend against a cyber attack, and IBM, we've done a lot of research on those type of individuals and those personas. When you look at a security operations center today, you typically have 20-30 minutes to actually look at an individual incident. That's kind of how we measure these environments. And the human being is sitting there, and what they have, the resources that they have at their fingertips are, usually they have a system, usually a security intelligence platform, that gives them, using a healthcare analogy, a set of vital signs of the environment. Think of it as the blood pressure, the temperature, the pulse, etc., right, in terms of what's going on in the environment. There are these common vital signs that we typically look for. Now, when you see an abnormality, when you see a temperature spike or see something abnormal going on, that's the time that something will fire and an individual has to go look at this. What we are doing is assisting in that knowledge search and actually enabling more people to actually bring that knowledge and learn much faster in terms of triaging those cyber attacks. What we did with Watson was we took a set of structured information, the well-defined structured information feeds, and also about 1 million sources of what we call unstructured information. things like blogs and Twitter feeds that are relevant to the security space, that has knowledge in there about security incidents and security attacks. Security is a game of wits. It's a game of really intelligent people perpetrating the attack, and also very intelligent people that are defending against the attack. And we have security researchers the same as everybody else, and it's about finding vulnerabilities in systems and being able to document those. Now, unfortunately, we document them in places like white papers, unstructured information, and being able to get that to every security operator around the world really quickly is what's critical. And that's the role of artificial intelligence, and in our case, the Watson Cyber platform. In terms of AI being used to commit attacks, well, first of all, the attack pattern and the attacks are much more organized. It's a business now, unfortunately. And if you go on what we call the dark web, there's a whole ecosystem there, the eBay of the dark web, where you can actually get access to toolkits to actually perpetrate an attack. You can literally, it's a software ecosystem. You can actually buy a software development kit to actually perpetrate an attack, and you can get support, kind of bronze, silver, gold support. Bronze, kind of pay as you go, and you get limited support, maybe email. Silver, you actually get a full chatbot and a lot of to help you launch an attack. And then gold, you get your money back if you're not successful. It is that crazy. That's what's going on there. So all the techniques and all this computer software development that we understand and know in the good side of the world is happening in the dark web, and people are using that to perpetrate attacks. Have they got to the point where they're using artificial intelligence? We have no known example of that today, to be honest. But what I would say is the trend is there. Unfortunately, the possibility is there, because at the end of the day, this is computer science. It's computer science being used to bad ends, right? And it's possible, but we haven't any examples of that today.
Enjoyed this video? Click here to get the latest news on siliconrepublic.com and follow us on social media.